We have now interrupted your regularly scheduled programming to bring you.
All right, welcome back to another edition of the Warheads. This is Apocalypto Joe. I'm with OG Zoe and Roscoe. Damn, I'm rhyming again. What the hell? All of our names have the same cadence to it.
Right.
But before we get started, I wanted to give a shout out to our homeboy Mike Sanders. He has his own company out there in College Park, Georgia. He makes real nice bracelets. He does other things too. Check him out. Model BC bracelets. Support our boy. He's a supporter of the show. And as we get started today, fellas, over the course of the past year, 200 rappers dead and gone. And I think this is a crazy phenomenon. You know, we know about, rappers like DMX who died from an overdose. MF Doom, of course, he died. He was sick. But then we have rappers like King Von, who was killed. We have rappers like who else was killed out there?
Probably you got Pop Smoke. You got the recent people, Young Dolph, that just happened a few days ago. We can name a lot of rappers. There's been a lot of shooting deaths that's happened over the last year with these guys. So.
Right, and Dolph, he's actually the reason what prompted us to do this particular episode because of the way that he died so violently. Just trying to kick it and buy his favorite cookies. He was a family man,
Yeah.
had a couple of beautiful kids, a beautiful woman that he loved on. And now the brother isn't here anymore. And like we said, it were some other rappers who died from other various causes, but we want to talk about the violence out here. And so I wanted to highlight a few rappers that died violently, and then we could get this discussion going. We all know Huey. He was real popular. He had that pop it, lock it, drop it that all the girls was doing. It says back in 2006. Very prominent rapper. A rapper from your neck of the woods, Roscoe. FBG Duck. He was shot in a drive-by.
Yeah, very, very prominent dude out here. Still gets a lot of love from a lot of the younger guys who are into the drill music. So yeah, it's still a big icon right now.
A rapper by the name of Mo3 died after he was gunned down in a drive-by. These rappers in these guns. This is crazy.
Yeah.
But he was killed out in Dallas. And another rapper, a female rapper by the name of China. She was with ASAP Mob. But she died from a drug overdose, kind of like DMX. And so, as we think about these things, what's been going on out here, for the most part, in some instances, people die, haphazardly, diseases and stuff. But we can see that with a lot of this stuff, murder was the case. Going back to Snoop Dogg.
Right.
Drive-by, shot up getting cookies, you name it. So what's going on? Let's talk about this. 200 rappers, that's a lot of people in a calendar year in one particular profession. I don't even think 200 cops die a year, and they carry guns. They're actually after the bad guys. What's going on, y'all?
Wouldn't we all like to know? Actually, that's it's just one of those things, man. I think you could get surface level with it and kind of say, what up, peeps, by the way. But yeah, you could kind of look at it as some surface level stuff, and some of the neighborhoods that some of these guys are getting caught in would be one of the things. I know with Young Dolph, like you said, with his situation, he was just going to a store that he supported, black owned, that was selling these cookies, and so yeah, just trying to do the right thing and just do what he normally does, but not being completely mindful, I guess, of the fact that you're a highly prominent person that's hanging around in neighborhoods where people are poor and struggling, and anything that looks like success is going to look like a come up to a lot of these people, and so that's why I think the older rappers, or people who aren't attached to this, and they look at these younger guys, and a lot has been made of the fact that a lot of these guys, once they get popular, they stay in the cities that they're from, and you end up finding out that a lot of these guys, a huge number of these guys, have died in the city that they're from. So probably one thing to take from this is to probably get away from your immediate surroundings that you come from. But I'll let Zoe say what he has to say.
I mean, I think it's a mixture of a lot of things. Um, I think it has to do with like how people actually uh, care about life. I mean, if you go out there and you live that type of way, yeah, you can make money off of it. But like, how does that reflect on you, and how does it come back on you? Like, can you still? A lot of these people were living wrong, and I know it's hard to say because everybody has it like all different types of ways, but there's other ways to like do things if you want to change where you are.
Yeah.
And I don't think I think a lot of it has to do with the way that everybody wants to be a rapper. Everybody wants to be the exception, and it's not gonna happen for everybody because it's all scripted, man. They pick who they want to put out there, unless you're underground, unless you're independent, and then people still live life that way, like you said, Roscoe. That you're still there, like people know where you're at, and you're flaunting, tons of money on Instagram or wherever on any type of social media, and people know where you're at. If they wanted to do anything, they could get you, and that's just proof of it. It comes around full circle.
Peeps, what you got?
This is really just a sad situation all the way around. We just keep losing more and more young guys who never reach their potential. We also have to look at the situation of where they did grow up at, what beef they've already accumulated. We take all of that into consideration. And I'm going to go left field on y'all. I'm going to go left field on you. A lot of these guys have built up their reputations through social media and so forth and so on like that. A lot of these guys are doing this without record labels and stuff like that. And you got to consider a lot of that goes along with it too. What I know it sounds crazy, but what if that's a situation where you know they're being forced into a situation and that's their only way out, or they're being canceled out because of a higher power. I mean, you never know. I mean, I'm going left field on it, but you look at the Michael Jackson situation, you look at the Prince situation. Those guys was xed out because they were trying to get control of their masters. So the music industry, you're taken away from them when you're able to create your own numbers. So just keep that in mind as well.
I agree. And now I do want to have a discussion. Now that we got our intros out of the way, let's really talk about this without trying to formulate it any kind of way. I think about the whole King Von situation, and he was dating the girl Asian doll, and she's on the record talking about, she don't want to date nobody unless they got at least two bodies on them. And so this is a mentality that permeates within this hip hop community that we find that is popular today, that's been popularized. It is a form of pop music, but it's a lot of young killers out here. We look at the Bobby Schmurder situation and why he got locked up for not ratting on a friend of his who had bodies. The women, they give incentive to deal with young men who are out in these streets who ain't got no problem murking somebody. A lot needs to be said about this. And so, even though murder was the case, we can look at it like rapping is no longer just entertainment. This is a very violent blood sport now. Yeah, we know that there are people who are died. Ecstasy. He was sick from the Houdini. You know, but a lot of these rappers are going out. The drugs. The murder. That's what I really want to focus on, even if it's just a minor percentage of these rappers. We know that this stuff is being talked about in the music. It's in the imagery, and it's not just entertainment. We can look at The Predator and know that that's a movie. Fools getting killed left and right. These young men and women are not walking away from hip hop like, oh, that's just entertainment, and then they go back to a normal life. They're trying to live, eat, breathe this stuff day in, day out. What y'all got?
Yeah, no, you're right about that. It is about the imagery and the lyrics, that they're promoting, all that type of stuff. But what I find interesting in all this is unlike back in the day, where it may not have been as prevalent. And what I'm speaking of is the fact that there may not have been as many college educated people coming into the game when you first start in hip hop. So you had a lot of street dudes who were just doing what they knew and how they knew. But then when you fast forward to where we are today, and a lot of these artists, they are college educated kids. You know what I mean? These are, some of these kids, like maybe the Bonds of the world and what have you, may have been, just street dudes. But, you got people like Plies, people like Megan Thee Stallion, people like Two Chains. All of these people that I've named are people who have been to college. So if they had the wherewithal of higher learning, and that type of mindset, and then to not take whatever they were taught in colleges and apply those in ways where it would be helpful to our people, but as opposed to that, be damaging to our people. So you got college educated people who are putting out negative imagery still, is what's crazy to me. So yeah, that's one of those things that I always look at in the here and now, and I'm just like, wow, you would think that we would get to a place where we know better, but even those people who you would assume that's the case, that's really not the case. So.
But the reason why it's not called out is because it's seen as entertainment. So it's not going to be called out because people are enjoying it. Like, that's the thing, is people thrive off of the drama, and then you lose so many people so fast. And they could have been anything else other than a victim. Like,
Right.
Because it's like we put them up there to get, because whether or not they sign a deal that's right for them or whatever, which I think is a complete joke, but that goes on to that. But they're portrayed by by social, by the everybody, by advertising, using them. So even if they really want to, they may not be able to, and that's a sign that's the deal that they made, and they have to reap with it with every um, event, everything over and over again. But and then it goes into like the gun culture. I mean, everything. Like when I grew up, it was crazy to be like smoking crack and like if you were a fiend. But now it's cool to be a junkie, and it's like that doesn't even make any sense. Like how do we go from that to people popping pills and they're overdosing? Like a lot of and most of these rappers get killed with gun violence. This ironically the same thing that they promote in when they're making their money. So it doesn't hurt the record sales because they get paid even more when they die. look how sales flourish after a rapper's dead, because
Yeah.
everybody wants to tribute them, so they're worth more.
You're right about that, because I remember when Nipsey got killed by Shitty Low, his streams went through the roof.
Shitty Low.
That's his name.
No, I know that's it. I just, some of the names we come up with in the hood is amazing, but I'm sorry about that.
Oh, no, you good. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right, Zoe. There's incentive in killing these fools. Maybe their streams or their sales don't do as well, and once they get a little name and it catches a little bit of fire, they're like, and I'm speaking conspiratorial now. Maybe they're like, it's time. It's time to kill them. And so that makes me want to ask the question.
But when they're in that occupation, you don't really have to say when. You just have to sit back and wait, because it's inevitable. It's gonna happen. If you still live that life like that trill, yeah.
Let me ask Eric. Eric, let me ask you, with the environment, with the climate, is insuring rappers just a smart move now? Because we know a lot of.
Hey, look, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'm gonna throw a plug out there for my kid's mom. You know what I'm saying? She does insurance. You know what I'm saying? You got a baby daddy that's about that life, man. Go ahead, get that man insured now. Get about 100,000 on him. You know what I'm saying? If your baby daddy a rapper, you know what I'm saying? Your boyfriend a rapper, man, she'll hook you up, man, because it's facts.
No,
Facts.
You know what's crazy? One of my baby mamas used to be real deaf on that, man. Like real heavy. Like, do you get it? Do you got some insurance? like she just knew how I was living was crazy. Like, man, get you some insurance. You know what I mean? Like, you out here.
It's facts. And a lot of these independent artists, I'm gonna throw the question out to you guys, because maybe you guys know a little bit more about it than I do. But a lot of these independent artists, because if I'm not mistaken, the young guy that just got killed, he was an independent artist. So how do his royalties go? Because for what I'm hearing, just like you guys just said, his numbers have been shooting up now. Now everybody is a fan of him now.
Right.
So what happens with a lot of these independent artists?
Well, I don't think like in Dolph's case, or and a couple of some of these other guys, like I do actually think that some of these guys in particular may have been signed. I know that that a lot of these guys, crazy enough, were tied into this one record company or distribution company called Empire, that kind of has either management deals or some type of deals that they've had with Young Dolph, with Mo3, with Vaughn. They even stretch back as far as Aaliyah. So all of these people have been tied to this same company in some sort of fashion. So people tried to make it a conspiracy thing, when I'm not sure if that's really the case. If this one company was responsible in any way, shape, or form for these people not being here. I don't think that's the case. But I do think that when Apocalypto asked the question about whether these rappers should be insured now, and if it's a smart thing, I think that the companies they have looked at just the landscape of rap and hip hop, and yeah, it's more than a smart idea. I think it's actually like whoever came up with it first was like genius. Once gangster rap came about, it was just like, it's probably a good idea to start putting some insurance on some of these dudes. Just the way they moving, the way they living, and like Zoe said in the beginning about just the lyrics that you putting out. Like, you have to be mindful of the fact that all of this death and carnage that you speaking about in your lyrics, like these are lyrics that people are actually taking to heart. Not everybody is looking at this stuff as just art or just music. You know, people are using this stuff to get amped up and go hurt other people. You know, but I'm a you know, not try to take up
But
everybody's time. You know,
No, what I was gonna say is like when it comes to insurance, it's just good in general that we all have some type of life
oh
insurance
yeah,
because of how unexpected things are with life. But with rappers, you probably should have about 2-3 policies. But going into this comment, Howard Hutchinson says it's not about the talents wants, it's about what the corporate backing wants. They don't want it to be the hip hop. By the way, OG Zoe is Zoe, not Zoe. Entertainers have always been made dope fiends. And when it comes to insurance policies, I don't think a lot of people on drugs, when they come through the physical and they see you're on drugs, they're not giving you a policy,
no, but they screw you before they even have you sign it, man. Like
Yes.
that's what I'm saying. Like that, the whole thing is to even have a. I seen a video where they had Mike Jones and he was explaining about how nobody ever gets any real deals anymore. That shit was crazy. Like you have to be an independent artist. Oh, Dax, he's cool.
yeah, they don't. Yeah, they definitely not doing the standard deals that they used to do. You know, they doing those 360 deals now. You know, where there's like 4 and 5 and 6 different companies that got their hand in your pockets before you.
Yeah, it's globally. Yeah, it'll be like globally or universally. So you'll never be able to, and you won't even be able to use that image if you ever try to leave or any type of thing. Like I don't know, man. It's crazy. Like people will own your mannerisms while you're playing a character, and then you won't be like, what are you at that point? You're just a shell.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's so much. I mean,
Do
people.
anything for the bag.
Yeah, no, and you're right. There's a lot of like ownership issues and stuff like that a lot of these artists are having. You know, when it comes to like Peeps was saying earlier about like people fighting for their masters and stuff like that, and
Mhm.
you know, so yeah, these companies, you know, could there have been some conspiracies throughout, you know, maybe, you know, like Pete said, you know, people like Michael Jackson, people like Prince, they before they left, they were talking and they were trying to preach to like a lot of these type of dudes, crazy enough about like the industry ills and stuff like that. So, you know, it's crazy, man. It's really wild.
Yeah, you're right about that. And so
Mm.
I don't know. Like I said, when I think about the state of hip hop, how it's transcended entertainment. I know when we were younger, in the early stages, in the golden era of hip hop, even going into the 90s and stuff, I think that was the most lucrative era of hip hop. There's a lot of money out here now. In the beginning stages, it was some money, but it ain't nothing like it is now because these kids benefit from like just being in the dope game, streaming. Hip hop was more happy go lucky. It was friendly. We looked for opportunities like to show songs to our parents to try to bridge the gap with them. You can't bridge the gap with none of this new hip hop with your parents. Shoot, I know my daughter doesn't listen to this stuff, but there's no way she could bring this nonsense to me like that. He's talking about lean and sipping scissor. You got to listen to this. Back in the day, I'd be like, Mom, check out this Public Enemy record. Hell, I think my mom bought me a Public Enemy record now that I think about it.
But hey, Ma, listen to this WAP.
This
Right.
What the? No. See, that's what I'm saying. That's how far the rainbow's gone. Like, it's way over the hill.
No, it's bad.
But thinking about how young grandmothers are nowadays, like it's grandmothers and great grandmothers in their late 30s that are part of that. What are they? Millennials and stuff. They listening to the same music that their grandkids and their kids are listening to.
Yes.
And that's how you know that it's some destructive mentality going on out here.
That's something right.
I think if you follow the music over the decades, when, like you guys were saying, you look at the 80s, you look at the late 70s, the early 80s, And like you said, the hip hop was more wholesome during those eras.
Yes.
And in our communities, it was the beginning of the end of that family mentality of that my neighbor is my neighbor. You know what I'm saying? And I look out for my neighbor. Once you start hitting the 90s, it becomes more and more, grungier, dirtier, becomes more street. And eventually, once you get into the 2000s, it's about, stunting, how many people you fucking, and all of that. Oh, excuse my language, but how many people you sleeping with, the drugs, all. And then you see that flip where it was like Zoe said, we used to make fun of clucks. You know what I'm saying? Now you are the cluck. You know what I'm saying? We got kids out here, taking pills and just wigging out. And if you follow the music, just follow the music by decades, you will see it's a perfect mirror to what's going on in the community.
Well, like once again, DMX and this rapper China Rogers from the ASAP Mob, and they're not the only ones. This is what's going on. I remember seeing a meme on social media not that long ago, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, but it talked about how back in the day, rappers was drug dealers. Now y'all young cats is drug users.
Yeah.
It
is. That's how it is, though.
Dope man, you must qualify. Don't get high off your own supply. These fools getting high off their own supply. They selling it and they doing it.
They using it.
Yeah, no, but see that what changed is that back in the days they used to use shaming language for like the stuff that y'all that like Peeps and Zoe was talking about. Like when you talk about like it being clucks and all that nowadays, like back in the days in the music, there was shaming language for that type of stuff. So me and Apocalypto, we talked about this recently, on how like a lot of the videos from back in the days, there was kind of a PSA that was almost put, if it wasn't woven within the music already, there would be a message at the end to say, kids don't do this, so that was the thing. Like when
and now the whole video is everything that you were told not to do.
Yeah.
With written everything, like everything's documented for you. Here you go.
You know what's
crazy?
What's a prime example of telling a great story without being gangster, but the song is still gangster? Is Slick Rick's Art of Storytelling. That come on, man. Not only is it a great story that he's telling, it's a cautionary tale, but it's telling the streets. It's giving it to you. You know what I'm saying? Raw, right there. And it doesn't have to be this imposing, I'm gonna gun you down and then I'm gonna kick in the door of your family and I'm gonna shoot your grandma in the face. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, just follow.
And that's crazy though, because you got kids that grow up off of this music where in every song it's a massacre every time. Yes. No matter what, it's like watching nonstop scary movie. Like just and you're just like drilling this into these kids. Like
the whole album.
At what point is that? Yeah. It's just
it's almost like paranoia music. You know what I mean? Because you when you listen to the songs, it's the ops is everywhere. You know what I mean? They out to get me. You know what I mean? It's like
but that's like torture.
Do I gotta look over my shoulder everywhere?
What it reminds me of is, like you said, the art of storytelling, telling a cautionary tale. I remember, like when I was younger, reading the Iceberg Slim books, for example, and how people would glorify the pimp life. But when you read Iceberg, who probably was the most cold-blooded pimp in the history of pimping, he referred to that life as poison. All his books were a cautionary tale, like don't get involved with this nonsense. But it's like they move right past all the hazards, and going back to Asia Doll, like recently, she's in the media talking about how she don't want to date no more killers, no more gangsters. She want a square dude, You know, she want to be married now, so death done touched her. See, I think that's the problem with a lot of these modern day rappers. When we were growing up, you always knew the fool in the hood by the way they talk stuff. Cause why? Nobody ever beat their ass. Something about an ass whooping or getting some hot lead put in your ass humbles you and makes you not want to seek that lifestyle. See, what it is they walk around parading with their guns and stuff, not understanding that this death culture, once it really touches you and you're inundated in it and there's no way out, you wish you can go back to a time, a more simpler time, a more innocent time, and not have to deal with all that nonsense. Howard Hutchinson says the corporations make it dark out there if you try to get smart on them. And so that begs the question, like, do they have any control over the message? See, I don't think it's just the corporations. See, I think the corporations have gotten smart. They don't have to seek out a rapper and then change their image like they did once upon a time. They just look for rappers that are already talking about that nonsense. It used to be a time where they're like, we're going to change your image. You know, you have to look this way. We're going to conform you, for the records and whatnot. They don't have to do that anymore. It's like eeny, meeny, miny, mo on any street corner. Oh yeah, we can package you and sell you, And so it's a lot to be said for that, man.
Yeah.
I think.
No,
I agree. But we got to look at it like this. My bad, Roscoe.
No, you good.
What's selling? But what sells? What sells?
That drama.
That drama. You turn on the TV. What is getting ratings? That drama. I mean, as much as we can talk about it, at the end of the day, it's the people who are the biggest suppliers and the biggest demanders of it. There has to be something to the culture that we have to change, where that's not what we want to hear. We want to hear people like Lupe Fiasco. You know what I mean?
Hold people accountable, man.
We it kind of falls on us as well, man. I know I'm guilty.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I love me some 3 6 Mafia, and they talk all that crazy shit, But I understand there's a line in the sand. That's not my life.
It ended at the CD.
I think that's something. I think that's something to be said, because I think that you could still enjoy that type of music, because I've always looked at it as art. You know what I mean? So I was able to separate the fact that, of course, this is music that I enjoy, but I do understand that if you're, for some people who are not like me and are taking this music in a different type of way, you know what I mean? This music definitely has that effect. So, it's like there are people like Peep said, who are taking it in and looking at it as just entertainment, but the masses are really looking at this as these are these real people's lives. Going back to the 90s when it was all about keep it real and stuff like that. That's something that is extended through this genre till this day. We have to keep it real. And that's something that's not enforced in nothing else but hip hop. Like, you don't have to keep it real if you're a movie star. Like if you like what's his name, Matt Damon, and you go into the set to play Jason Bourne, you know what I mean? You don't come off the set expecting to be attacked by secret agents and stuff.
But that's because it's just a hostile environment all around. That no matter where you're at, you're gonna be popping off like that. That's the life you're gonna live.
And not only that, because like Eric said, it's the drama. What do we know? Like, once we study psychology, what do we know about drama? That's the arousal jag. The drama literally activates the pleasure center of these people's brain. Once they're in that mode where, I'm a bust you up, I'm gonna sleep with your girl. That was some of the beef that Dolph had with Gotti. I had sex with your baby mama. That's drama out in these streets. Oh, you did what? Let me tighten you up, homeboy. You know what I'm saying? The pleasure centers of the brain are activated with all this drama, this gun toting and stuff, and looking over your shoulder. I remember growing up watching these Crips that used to live on the block with me, and they would be out there selling drugs. But every car that came by, they had to look. Every car, they had to look. Super hyper vigilant. But being in that state activated the pleasure centers of the brain. Is this a cell? Is this a benign car? Is this an enemy? That question, that 3-layered question, I'm sure was on their brain every single car that drove by. And you come to fall in love with something that is destructive. It's crazy out here, man. Anyway, what's y'all's parting shots on this topic? Let's get up out of here. 30 seconds or less, fellas.
I don't know, man. My parting shots, we pretty much covered all the bases. You know, I like all the points that everybody has made here, and everybody has some good stuff, man. Like I really believe that you know, if we had to look for a solution in all of this, I really think that it's gonna take a lot, because this stuff is so layered. You know, I think a lot of this destruction really stems from just the crack era and all that. So there's a lot of repairs that has to go into this. But it starts at home, though. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, it starts at home. There's a lot of repairs, but you know, saying you just have to start somewhere. So just start. First thing I would say is don't put too much emphasis in their lives, because they're not yours. They wouldn't care about you. If they seen you on the street, they'd probably roll right past you in their Lambo or whatever they're driving that day. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I mean, like he said with the music, you know, yeah, you can enjoy it, but as long as you know that there's a line in between that, you know, you can enjoy almost anything with moderation. You can't go overboard. You shouldn't try to live that life, and don't be a fiend. Simple as that.
Eric?
Facts. My parting words is if you got a baby daddy or baby mama that's out there and they reckless, get that life insurance, man. They shoot us an email, and my baby mama can hook y'all up. You know what I'm saying? Don't wait. Do it now.
She could get it right. She could get it right.
Man, I'm saying, you know, it's a man, you know, burials, man, they ain't cheap, man. You know, only people out there like that, man.
Howard Hutchinson said her part shot is don't kill a rapper.
Nobody should want to be a rapper anymore until they can learn to rap. Like
my parting shot, as far as the solution is concerned, I'm gonna take it from the poet, the laureate, Gangstalicious from Boondocks, when he said God got involved. God is gangster. It's gonna take God to get involved to stop these rappers from doing all this nonsense. At any rate, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Come follow us as we go in on these topics. Warheads out.
We have now interrupted your regularly scheduled programming to bring you